Hello and welcome to the Commander's Quarters, your Magic the Gathering source that helps you command your budget. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support. Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Quarters studio. Welcome to the show. So the final day of Charm spoiler season has finally come. And yeah, I know that Charm spoiler season isn't a real thing, but it seemed like a very real thing because unexpectedly over the past week or so, we have gotten one of each of the charms from this upcoming set, and yesterday we got an incredibly powerful one with Riveteer's charm, and I thought there was absolutely no way of another charm topping it. But today, Broker's charm was just revealed, and to be honest, it's gonna be really close to see which of these two charms is at the top of the charm food chain? I don't know. Anyways, blame Eddie. It's always Eddie's fault whenever I make a mistake. You know that. Everyone knows that, so make sure you blame Eddie in the comments below right now. And with that, let's jump into it. So, our final charm from the charm cycle of Streets of New Capenna is Broker's Charm, an instant for green, white, blue, go figure, that says choose one. Target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. Or destroy a target enchantment, or draw 2 cards. These are 3 incredibly relevant modes in basically any game of Commander. Now, that first mode is dependent, obviously, on you having a creature in play, and one that is going to have enough power to essentially take out what you want to take out. That being said, in these colors, yeah, you're probably going to have a creature in play that can do the job for you. Now, keep in mind with this, obviously, this is not fighting. This is you actually just utilizing your creature's power to dish out the damage, so your creature is safe and it's not going to get hit by, whatever you are targeting. And again, although this is dependent on you having a large-ish creature in play, for the most part, again, in these colors, you can take out what you need to take out. On top of that, again, the second mode, Destroy Target Enchantment, is of course incredibly relevant in a game of Commander, and yeah, this is a fantastic charm because the first 2 modes are just strictly removal. The first one obviously being slightly dependent, the second one not being dependent at all. Just take out whatever enchantment you want to take out. And of course, that third mode is just straight up card advantage, draw 2 cards, and yeah, that's always a great thing to have on a flexible card like this one. So this is 2 different removal options and 1 option for card advantage. Now, this card has a ton of applications for a lot of decks out there that can utilize it, and yeah, when it comes to being compared to the other charms from this very cycle, it is definitely in the top few, though I do not think that it is more powerful than Riveteer's charm, which, yeah, if you haven't seen that one, make sure you check out the episode yesterday. That card is a powerhouse, and it's going to see a ton of play in Jund decks. That being said, I also believe that this is going to see a lot of play, obviously, though, in Bant decks. With that first mode being dependent on a certain factor, again, which is you having a creature in play with a decent amount of power for you to take something out, that is going to restrict it from some decks, obviously, out there that might not utilize a lot of creatures or a lot of big creatures. Again, for the most part, when it comes to Bant decks, you're probably going to have some large creatures. Again, you are in green, so yeah, usually you're going to be able to have a target that can do the job for you, but for those cases, for those decks that might not, then, this might not fit in those decks. That being said, now let's see how Broker's Charm can compare to the previous charms that we've seen so far in Bant. Now, the original Bant charm, which of course is called Bant Charm, has the exact same mana cost, and of course it's also an instant that also says choose one. Yeah, it's a charm. Regardless, this one sees a good amount of play in Commander, seeing play in 5% of eligible decks. So actually, out of that original Charm cycle, I believe Bant Charm ended up as the 4th most popular on EDH Rec behind Naya, Sultai, and Abzan, but yeah, still pretty high up there. And that's because of what it does. Obviously, destroy target artifact, put target creature on the bottom of its owner's library, or counter target instant spell. All 3 modes are incredibly relevant in games of Commander, and all of them essentially, aren't dependent on any factors on the field, outside of you actually wanting to remove something, obviously. So in comparison, obviously, Bant Charm gets rid of an artifact, Broker's Charm can get rid of an enchantment. That's pretty much a wash on what each of them do, for comparison's sake. When it comes to creature removal, though, Bant Charm has a leg up on Broker's Charm because putting a creature on the bottom of its owner's library is pretty much a, you're not getting this thing back probably for the rest of the game. Whereas with Broker's Charm, if you're playing against something that has any kind of recursion or a graveyard deck where they actually want creatures in their graveyard, getting rid of a creature and sending it to the graveyard, it might not be as good as putting on the bottom of a library. Obviously, exiling is superior to each of them, but still. That being said, with that same removal mode though, Broker's Charm can get rid of a Planeswalker, which definitely can be very relevant. But again, keep in mind, obviously, this one is dependent on the factor of you actually having a creature in play with a decent amount of power. And then, of course, those last 2 modes aren't really all that comparable, counter target instant spell or draw 2 cards. Bant Charm originally is just kind of mostly just removal, essentially, or control, and the new Broker's Charm has a good amount of removal, obviously, but then some card advantage stapled onto it as well. Each of these, though, can obviously be incredibly impactful in the right deck, and they have a ton of flexibility. Now, which we'll see more play, I really am not sure. In the long run, probably Bant Charm. Again, it doesn't depend on any factors on the field. You don't need to have a creature in play that might have a certain amount of power, etc., etc., etc. That being said, each are very effective charms, and yes, there are a lot of decks out there that are going to want both. But that's not the case for the other charm that is in Bant with Treva's Charm. It's an instant for the exact same cost, and it says, choose 1, destroy target enchantment, or exile target attacking creature, or draw a card, then discard a card. Yeah, this one sees play in 0% of eligible decks, and for good reason. Now, okay, by 0%, it still sees play in some decks, but it's rounded down. You know what I mean, it doesn't see much play at all. Now, obviously, that first mode, destroy target enchantment, is a good one, and of course, we see that on Broker's Charm as well, so that's a wash there. But the other 2 are pretty lackluster. Yes, you can exile a creature, but it is dependent on that creature attacking, which might not always work out for you. And of course, just drawing a single card, then discarding a card, looting, is obviously vastly inferior to drawing 2 cards. So yes, there is a reason this charm sees basically no play in Commander. That being said though, now let's talk about some decks that might want this brand new Broker's Charm, and one of the first cards that came to my mind that might want it is Rafika the Many. This commander can get absolutely massive in absolutely no time and can smack your opponents for a ton. So yeah, with your Broker's Charm, that first mode can pretty much take out whatever creature or planeswalker you want on the board. Or at least I should say the vast majority of the time, and yes, if that creature's indestructible or can regenerate, it's not going to work. You know what I mean. Another commander that can get absolutely massive, though, is Tuvasa the Sunlit, which is going to get +1/+1 for each enchantment you control, and in an Enchantress-style deck like this one, you're going to be able to get plenty of enchantments in play in absolutely no time. So yeah, again, with Broker's Charm for that first mode, which again is the only dependent kind of part of that actual card, you can generally take out whatever you need to take out with it. On top of having the flexibility of being able to destroy an enchantment or draw 2 cards when you absolutely need to. And of course, in Bant, there just are commanders that are just kind of massive on their own without any other factors, like, Storvald, Frost Giant, Jarl is a 7/7. It just is a 7/7, so yeah, casting Broker's Charm, giving it +1/+0, that's going to be 8 power, which again can pretty much take out any creature or planeswalker on the board. And if it can't, well, that is one massive creature that your opponent has. But you might have some other ways to pump your creature to be able to take that out. But yeah, for the most part, it's going to do the job. But of course, and I've mentioned this on every other charm episode, yeah, Ramos Dragon Engine is going to absolutely love this charm. Ramos has, whenever you cast a spell, put a +1 counter on Ramos Dragon Engine for each of that spell's colors, and by removing 5 counters from Ramos, you add double Wooburg to your mana pool, but you can only activate this ability once each turn. So, cost-effective and efficient spells like charms that have a lot of colors are incredibly impactful in a Ramos deck, especially ones that have relevant modes. And of course, the Broker's Charm modes are relevant for a Ramos deck, especially that first one, because again, Ramos can get absolutely massive in no time. I mean, just by casting it again, without any other counters on Ramos before this starts, Ramos gets 3 counters, you give it +1/+0, so again, that's 8 total power, and you can take out a lot of things. And of course, like I've mentioned in other episodes, there are just some players out there that want to play an entirely Charms Ramos deck, and guess what? Now you've got 5 more Charms to add to your deck, and you're going to be really happy with Broker's Charm and many of the other ones. That being said, now as we close out this cycle, yeah, just a very solid cycle all around. When it comes to the best charm out of this cycle, I'm probably going to lean towards Riveteer's Charm, but there are definitely others up there for contention for that spot. That being said, yeah, I do believe that a lot of these charms are going to see a lot of play in their respective color pairings. For the most part, these charms have a wide application for the kinds of decks that they can fit into, again, within their own color combination. I would say that Cabaret Charm is probably the most specific out of all of them, but yeah, all are pretty solid. But now that Charm spoiler season is over, it is almost time for actual spoiler season, which does start on Thursday, which at this point is just 2 days away. That being said, and I could be wrong on this assumption, we did see 3 commanders, one from Grixis, one from Esper, and one from Naya on last, I believe it was Thursday or Friday, one of the 2 days. Regardless, after we saw a couple of the other charms, so we very well might see the remaining 2 commanders from that cycle, again, which would be Jund and Bant, coming out tomorrow before spoiler season starts. But again, that is just a guess. I have absolutely no idea if that is correct or not, and maybe we just saw, the first 3 before spoiler season for whatever reason, before we see the last 2. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned to this channel for even more spoilers, whether that includes, tomorrow potential commanders coming out, or, actual spoiler season starting on April 7th. And yeah, I've got my coffee ready and I am good to go. And with that, the show is coming to a close, so it's my turn to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know what your thoughts on this episode are, and as always, thanks again and have a good one.